So, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have Trevor here with us again. So, Trevor has been on my channel several times, but it has been a while. So, Trevor, would you like to reintroduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Trevor, the INFJ. On my channel, I talk about content similar to Tori's. I talk about MBTI, psychology, nerdy stuff like astrology, a whole bunch of different stuff. So I'm happy to be here today.
Cool. So, today, okay, a little bit about new developments on my channel first, because I remember I didn't cover it in previous videos. So I'm actually going to be rolling out new merchandise soon, which is designed by my friend who is a professional graphic designer. So the merch is going to be a lot more professionally done, and it will look like a lot more aesthetic. And so stay tuned for that. And today we are going to be touching on a less serious topic, because I realized that my channel has been like full of really serious topics, which is great. But we're going to be touching on basically how hot we think the cognitive functions are in terms of like behaviors in real life and what we are drawn to. And disclaimer first, this is just our own opinions. Like everyone has different preferences. So, what we find attractive or hot in terms of functions may not, in fact, it probably is not going to be the same for like even our own personality type, and especially not for like other personality types. So let's begin with the intuitive functions, because that's like the most talked about functions in the MBTI community. Like every other person is an intuitive. So we have introverted intuition, which is basically our own leading function for INFJ and also for INTJ. So Trevor, do you find introverted intuition attractive? Like the use
Hell
of
no. No, just not at all.
Oh no!
It's
So it's like a self-hating. No, just kidding.
Yeah. It's so like it's not when you're on a date with an INFJ, it's not because they're sexy. Like they are sexy, but like let's be real. NI is interesting. NI like draws you in. Like NI, when you're around your NI friends, you think, oh, like what are they thinking? And that is like sexy to some people. You think they're interesting. They have interesting ideas. They seem like NI users seem like they have high standards. So they look like they would be fun to chase and to kind of like discover, to like tease out that the INFJ or the INTJ secretly likes you. INFJs, you can kind of tell if they like you. INTJs, you can't tell at all if they like anybody ever. Like, and so there's that.
The mystery element.
Yeah, it's a mystery. It really, and you have to like that. Like, and not everyone does.
So you personally do not find NI attractive in other people, like in terms of like, I guess romantically that we are talking about, because friendship is different. Like, we bond well with NI dominance. Yeah.
I think it's like more romantic and like it's good for the connection, but like sexy in terms of sex appeal, no. Like, but in terms of, it's just not. But in terms of, yeah. What?
Self-rejection.
Yes, self-rejection. Yeah. But in terms of flirting, like going on a date with an NI user is great. The conversation is like in depth, and that's because I'm an NI. We're NI users, so we're gonna be interested in the same things. One thing I would say can be sexy about introverted intuition is the resting bitch face, because that is just like you're just sitting there like, and then that's like yeah, you look like you have something to say. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like so I feel like for me, NI is attractive when it is used in a certain way. So like I don't find every aspect of NI attractive. So some of it is like, it's not really self-hating. It's more like we all kind of want someone who has a little bit of contrast from us, I feel, at least for most of us. But I am sure some NI users also like other NI dominance, so that would be different. But for me, I like to have like a little bit of contrast from myself. So what I like about NI is that, or what I find attractive is that I do like it when people can talk about things that are like more meaningful. So for example, I am attracted to like personality types that have a developed NI that are like not necessarily the first function, but like if they develop it and they are able to use it in a conversation, that's like attractive because it means that I don't have to only talk about like shallow daily stuff. Like there is like layers to the conversation. So I find that attractive. But what I don't find attractive is like NI tends to be very passive, especially in the early like I'm talking about specifically INFJs, which is myself. So I know myself well. NI tends to be very passive in a relationship setting. Maybe more for females because like also like society and stuff. But I feel like NI prefers to be passive. Like that's our natural preference. But like I personally need like someone who is more on the active side when it comes to like the dynamic. So if both of us are passive, it just ends up like nothing happens. So that's like the not so attractive part, which needs like the balance. Yeah, but I like the use of NI in a conversation.
Yeah, it's like interesting. Like I used to have like I was thinking like the other day, like right now where I am in my life, like because I have been in multiple scenarios where I've been in charge of people, I have had to become more bossy and just in my personality. And that like shows up in relationships. And like, I don't know, it's interesting because on one level, introverted intuition is totally passive, wants to absorb everything and submit. But on another level, introverted intuition sets goals and tries to establish where the thing is going. So there's like two different ways. In one way, we're super passive. In the other, we want to be in control and direct where the ship is going. So it's very interesting.
The vision parts. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I think the passive part is more referring to like, at least for me, like in a more like relationship setting where I prefer if someone makes the first move. Like that's just my natural preference. I don't know about INFJ guys, but like my natural preference is I prefer the person to like be the one making the major moves. Like I don't want to be the one asking someone out or the one like texting, initiating texting. So it's like not natural for me. So then it makes sense if someone else is the opposite. Then it can, have that chemistry effect. So yeah, that's like my summary for the NI like hotness for the function.
Lack of hotness.
Okay. So let's move on to extroverted intuition. What is your experience with this function in terms of attractiveness?
To me, extroverted intuition is probably, subjectively to me, is probably the most attractive cognitive function. These people can talk and talk and talk and talk, and to me, that is just so, it lights a fire. I don't know. It's so fun, and they enjoy mental stimulation through like a flowing conversation. It depends what kind of mood they're in. Like sometimes they want to like converge with your NI, and sometimes they want to like spontaneously branch off into a bunch of different subjects. So sometimes we're on the same page and sometimes we're not. Extroverted intuition likes dominant personalities. Like think like NP, SJ. SJs are like to control and be in charge in this way. And extroverted intuition does too, but extroverted intuition tends to adapt like physically, like they like to adapt what they do to their partner because extroverted intuition is so just fluid and it just wants to go with the flow is how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think SJ is more of like wanting things to be a set way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I guess ISFJs are not really dominant, but like they still sort of have a certain,
OCD.
they still have like a standard of conduct that they see as like fitting, I guess. So it's kind of hard to explain, but ISFJs do not come across dominant, but they do have like the SJ like set of conduct, and like being normal and proper is like they have that looking to that as a reference. NE is a lot more chaotic. I think I find NE to be attractive in a social setting where I feel like, because I had recently I had an acting class where, I mean, it's not a romantic example, but like attractiveness, it can also be just on a charisma level. So I felt like I had a recent encounter with an ENFP, whom I'm pretty sure is most likely gay because of like the very
Oh yeah, girl.
flamboyant personality. But yeah, so he was like in my acting class, and he was just a very fun person. And because of that, like NE, like spark in the conversation in class, I felt like he like really just like made it more fun and lively because of like the fact that he was able to say things that are insightful but like in a fun way. So it kind of like bounces ideas, because I feel like sometimes in a conversation, especially like when you have a group setting and you have like a lot of sensors in the group. I mean, no hates to sensors, but it's hard to like bring forth the intuitive like insights. But then you have like NE that does it in a very courageous and like lively way, and people can like just enjoy that, instead of like, it's like serious, but at the same time they make it really fun. So it's easy for people to use it in a social situation. And I think ENFPs does it best when it comes to making the atmosphere fun, and also somewhat like on the creative side of things. So I find that
absolutely.
very, yeah. I think ENFPs are very charismatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've dated a few like gone on dates with a few ENFPs, and I totally see what you're saying. They can switch between surface level and basic white girl things and deep things very easily. To them, it's just all the same, and so they can flirt with everyone or anyone. Like there's like no one except for maybe like an ISTP, their opposing relationship. But like NE, exactly what you said, can, and it makes things fun too, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and NE is not afraid of being like very I don't want to say weird, but like they're not afraid of being like really different, and in a way that somehow, because they're so comfortable, so like people end up not judging that because they're so comfortable with it. So that's like pretty attractive, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
As
I
a
also,
function.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I find NE to be most attractive in a dominant function, as a dominant function.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I think another thing is that NE users like to find people to play like different roles in their life. And so since like this plays into their like how sexy the function is, because they want quantity over quality. And this is like in dating one, you can see like they want so many people, and they want everyone in their, like in flirting, every person they flirt with is like a different flavor to them, which is so important for them feeling like their attention, validation, social needs are met. So I think that's another thing that can tie into like their sex life.
Right. Yeah, like they're pretty witty. I mean, I personally find ENFPs to be like the I wouldn't want to say the most attractive, but like they carry the NE really well, just like from a social charisma point of view. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to introverted feeling. Introverted feeling is very polarizing for me. So let's hear about your opinions first.
Okay, FI, introverted feeling. I wrote lustful inner secret cravings. Like, introverted feelers have so much that introverted feeling function. Okay, when we talk about introverted feeling, we think of emotions, but how I've been conceptualizing it these past few months is not emotions, but feelings, a feeling of lust or a craving for hunger. Like, it's these longings for things. It's about wants and desires a lot. And it's about also about what's easiest. Introverted feeling has a dimension of instant gratification. These people are like the it's
Yeah, TJ be like, you're just lazy, FI users.
yes, exactly.
Just lazy.
They just want life to come to them. They want the good stuff to just come and happen to them. And INFJs have a way where we do that too.
Yeah, which is also laziness, according to the
Yes. It's
ENTJ
all
and ESTJ.
like you have to like yell at them to like get them to move, and it's like it is what it is.
Yeah, like so do you find FI to be sexy?
Extremely. Like, but like it's also it can be a turn like it it can burn out, or it can be sometimes it's like the FI is only for them. Like, it's about what they want, and it's about
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's when it can get a little toxic. So let's talk about the polarizing side of FI.
Let's talk about it.
So I will talk about FE later, so like people don't have to feel like they are being unfairly attacked. No
Oh yeah,
worries.
we'll attack everyone.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
FI to me, it's like it's polarizing because it's really ironic. Like I think I mentioned briefly in my other videos, but this one, because it's a sensational video, I can afford to talk a little bit about like my personal, um, like encounters with FI. So it's weird because in my dating life, I'm supposed to be more compatible with like, FETI users because I use FE. And naturally, yes, I get along well with like FETI users. But for some reason, like people who have been attracted to me and people I have been attracted to have predominantly been like FIT users, which is really toxic because I mean, okay, maybe toxic is the wrong word, which has been really unstable because I mean later on we can touch on TE, but TE FI comes together as a package, and you can't really like kick TE out of the package because we deal very badly with TE. Like later on we can talk about that, but so FI and TE come together. But the only really smooth experiences I've had with FIT users in terms of like friendships mostly has been ISFPs because their TE is kind of weak. But even then, their FI, like it's polarizing because, like you said, FI is primarily motivated by their own feelings, their own desires, and it can be very attractive because it's like when they are good to you, you feel like they are doing it completely from themselves. And I'm not trying to like demonize FE. I know people say like FE is not sincere, but I don't think it's a problem of sincerity, but it's more of the focus. Because FI is like when they do something that they're doing it for you, they're not doing it because they want to be a good person. They're not doing it because they somehow want to maintain the harmony, which is the case of FE when sometimes we can just be friendly with everyone just because we feel like being friendly. But because FI is like selective, and you see how like FI users also have like the resting bitch face thing, especially like dominant FI users, right? So like
Yes.
because they are sort of selective with who they have the connection with, and it comes from like their own desire, so you can feel very wanted when they use the good FI on you. But on the flip side, it can also get really It can also get really like for like I guess unhealthy use of FI. It can make you feel like they are not taking you into consideration, like they are prioritizing their own desires and their own like what they want in the moment, and they have like forgotten about your needs. Unless you sort of make it really obvious or you are really assertive about it, I feel like sometimes FI users can just like forget to take care of your needs because it doesn't occur naturally to them for some reason. Like sometimes they just forget and they naturally go back to what they want. Yeah. So that can be like very painful for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had like more than one. I've dated so many INFPs. It's unreal. Like INFPs are the personality type I've dated like the most. I have dated like it was like I've dated 2 or 3 FI DOMs before who swore up and down the street that they loved me, like they were so in love with me. They could not text me or hang out with me. Like that was like totally.
Why?
I don't know. When they'd see me, they'd be like, "I love you." And
what do you mean
what?
by they can't hang out? What do you mean? Like you cannot meet them in person? Ever?
Like they want to sit in their room and watch TV, and like then the one time a week they want to come out of their bedroom. They're like, "Hey, let's hang out," and I'm like, "Whoa! I don't know if you've been alive or dead for the past 10 days. Like, what's going on?"
Maybe it's like the bout of depression. Like I'm not kidding here. Like seriously, it just might be they're seriously in depression. That might be the reason. Because that's what my friend said. Yeah, and I'm saying like it's probably not the best foundation for a relationship if if that's the situation for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's not that FI is that way. It's that with these people and their depression, the FI became that way. So this is not even how all FI users behave when they're depressed. This is just a possible tendency that can happen.
Yeah, and FI, the thing is like what is intoxicating about FI is also like what is detrimental about FI. So it's like it makes me so confused, because I am very attracted to FI. Like, not gonna lie here, that's why I keep dating like people who use FI. But it's really detrimental. And it kind of forces you to have to voice out your needs. And even then, sometimes it's like they don't. I guess it depends on how healthy the user is, granted.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you have to be like really assertive sometimes, and that's why they pair well with the TJs because TJs are just like really assertive. So I feel like sometimes they just need that kick,
Yes.
because they are very like in their own world. Like even for my ISFP friends, like I have to explain the other people's perspective sometimes, and even then it doesn't really register in your mind because FI is very like, yeah, it's like centered around your own desires, your own feelings. So if they like a person, like nothing is wrong with them. But if they don't like someone, like everything can be wrong with them. They can be very biased. Like that's what I realized about FI. They can be like incredibly biased at the way they look at things, like very subjective because it's a subjective function. Like introverted functions are subjective.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. One more thing about FI that's important to know and to watch out for, but that can also be romantic, is FI.
Which I find very appealing. That's why I keep dating the toxic FI people.
Yes. It's like every time you have my first kiss, I think, was an ENFP. And it was so good. Like it felt like a movie or something. I don't know. like
getting a bit on the sensual side now.
Oh, I know. FI users.
I was losing your mind over FI toxicity.
I know. The FI drama love story. What do they do? Like, FI can fetishize things, so they can do like your first kiss, or like what an FI user like thinks of as like the first time is all so meaningful to the FI user. And like every first kiss that I have had with an FI guy I've dated has felt like it's like the first kiss. Like I don't even know. It's crazy. But then this can go the other way. Fetishizing things sometimes, like, okay, every human being does this, but FI especially, like sometimes in a relationship someone is abusive and then you love that person even though they abuse you. And then
FI love that. I mean, not saying I love that, but like FI users do that a lot. Yeah.
yes. And then that leads to them, then they feel empathic because they're in love with this person who's treating them like crap. And we've all been there. Or I don't know if like generally people go through this just in their life who date. Like they're in love with this person who's treating them like crap, and then they have no energy for their like other friends. And so and all their empathy, their like deep empathy is all going towards, I love this person, but they don't like that thing, like the complicated situation, basically.
Yeah, because FI is like very focused. Like they kind of zoom in on a few people that they care about. So like the rest of the world can just like, I mean, not that they don't care about the world, but like their emotional energy when it comes to people in their life, it's pretty much like quite limited. In a sense that they like they have like this special circle thing. Like FE is a lot more broad, which we can talk about later. But like, yeah, FI is like they are very focused in giving their attention and giving their empathy. So that's why they can make you feel really special. But at the same time, it's like because of how subjective it is, like it can also be pretty whimsical. Like, they can kind of. That's why ENFPs are like a lot of people say they're flighty because of the combination of NEFI, which is a very flighty combination. In fact, it's the flightiest combination, most likely. So they can change their feelings. It's like maybe one day they're like, oh my God, I'm so like in love with someone. And then the next day they could be like, oh, well, not really.
Oops, I did it again.
Like sometimes it's like because it's so like subjective. Sometimes it can switch around a little bit, but it's fun. Like FI is fun. I like FI.
Me too.
And like and sometimes people think I have FI as well, which technically is true that we can all use it. It just depends on the degree. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so moving on because this one took up too much time. FE. Okay. FE as a function. So Trevor, what do you think?
FE, I really like extroverted feeling in dating. It makes for a basically good dating experience. Like most of the FJs I've ever been on dates with, after the date, I'm like, oh, that was fun. It was good. I'm not like crying or thinking about what I said wrong. They can be cheesy and romantic. That is like my favorite quality is like the cheesiness of it. Like bringing me a Starbucks or bring me flour, like bring me something. They can be good gift givers. And ISFJs and ESFJs are even better gift givers than like ENFJs and INFJs because like they have the sensing. They put effort into conversation. They care about the conversation. They are so flirty though. That is one thing. FE like flirts as like a sport. It's all the time. It starts to feel like they are not. Maybe people would have said this about me. I don't know if anyone would ever think this about me, but FE users can be so flirty. It makes it feel like it's not just for you. Like, because they talk to so many people.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not selective. Yeah. It's not selective. That's why you see, like, especially for dominant FE users, like specifically like ESFJs and ENFJs, like how there's a stereotype about like FE emoji use, which is totally true. Like they just like send out a bunch of hearts to people and like the heart eyes and like they just send it to like a bunch of people and they can kind of care for like a bunch of people. But the thing is, it doesn't feel special. That's the thing. Like to me, that's the main problem I have with like, I mean, not saying I have a problem with FE dominance in general, but like in a romantic setting, at least, it doesn't feel special. Like I feel like they just do it because it's a habit, you know. Because I know how FE is. Like I use FE,
Yeah, yes.
but like to a lesser degree because I'm a like like
Auxiliary.
second function user. But like FE dominance, especially like if they don't have like the balance of TI, they can kind of use it on everyone, and that's kind of annoying because it's like if you use it on everyone, it kind of negates the effect, you know? Like I literally know of an ENFJ guy who is so flirty. Like he just like sends out a bunch of like, I'm not saying every ENFJ guy does it, but like just some of them on social media, they just like send like they just have like the hearts reacts, you know, they like hearts react to every girl's comment, and they're like, oh, I love you. Like it's just like so general. Uh, okay, that's
Okay.
an unhealthy FE dominance. Sorry, bad example. Not saying every FE dominance like that, but it's just like too general. That's the thing. Like in a romantic setting, you want to feel like you are special. So that's the thing. That's the way that it backfires. But I would say that what I like about FE is that I feel like FE can really take my feelings into consideration and my needs, just like especially when it comes to, I don't know, like I feel like I have pretty good experiences with, ironically, with people who use FE but like low in a lower part of their stack. So like
Yes.
ISTPs, for example, when ISTPs develop FE, they are so balanced, like because they have the TI, which is logical, and they have the FE, like they anticipate your needs and it feels very comfortable. Like people who develop their FE but not use it in a generalized way, like they use it in a way to like take your needs into consideration. Um, it feels so like easy to be around. Like they take your needs into consideration naturally, and I have also met FE dominant users like on the healthy side who are able to do that, and they are very soothing to be around because they know how to like say the right things and like care for you when you are, you know, in a bad mood, or you know, like they just know what to say on a more positive side of FE. And I feel like maybe it's also because I'm an FE user. Like I feel like FE users generally anticipate my needs more easily than FI users, just because like maybe because we share the same function. So like it makes it less like less unstable. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Oh my god. I thought of so many things when you were talking, like so many things you said like resonated. I think dominant extroverted feeling, like in ENFJs and ESFJs, they want to be taken advantage of because they like they
Wow.
always because they like, and I mean this in like romance, they give so much. It's like when I dated ENFJs, it's felt like probably more equal because I have auxiliary FE, they have dominant FE. It's probably more equal, and I always feel like they're looking to give 100% of the FE, and they want someone who totally just like they want to chase after someone because they want to just keep giving FE, and they want like they're looking for like a bad boy who's gonna say their FE is not good enough and tell them to try harder and like kind of abuse
Wow,
it.
that's really masochistic. I guess
Yes.
maybe for like less yeah,
Developed.
for like an unbalanced, like if they're not
Yes.
like developed in the TI, then they tend to do that. Yeah. Which is also similar for INFJs. When they
Yes.
are not like developed the TI, they tend to like prefer to be the giver.
Mhm.
But like I don't prefer that. So yeah. I guess I developed my TI. So I prefer
Yeah.
to be in an equal relationship. Yeah. But yeah, I totally see where that is, because ENFJs are attracted to bad boys in
Mhm.
most cases that I've seen.
Yeah. or
they
bad
are
girls.
also attracted to rudeness. So like, I'm not trying to teach bad things, but
Yes. Oh my God, they are.
we just revealed their secrets. So like now, like people are gonna be rude to them. Oh my
Be rude
god.
to an ESFJ. They'll buy you everything, girl. Like, it's crazy.
No, ESFJs love rude people. They claim they don't, but they love it. Like if you're blind, they're like, oh my god.
Win their heart.
I know, no, I was blunt one time. I wasn't like doing it just to attract an ENFJ. But like I was just like in a blunt mood, you know what I mean? Like sometimes the INFJs get into like the TI mood. And like and by the end of the night, literally this ENFJ guy was like really attracted to me.
Oh my God.
And I
Oh yeah,
wasn't
because
doing
you were
it
the
just
boss.
intentionally. I know, it was funny. But yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like yeah, I think FE can be pretty attractive when it's used in a way that is like when it's like anticipating people's needs and just like really warm and inclusive. Oh yeah, I wanted to bring that up because it's really important trait of FE. Like FE is very sensitive to the needs of the group. And so like I remember when I was like feeling misunderstood, you know, like the stereotypical INFJ situation, and I see someone using FE and it's so attractive. It's just like they know that you're feeling a little excluded and they try to include you. And I feel like wow, like my savior is here or something. Right?
Yes.
Like they do that. They literally include you in the circle. Like they would like for example, they see you there like by yourself. They would like include you in the conversation. Or they would like make you feel like I remember I was so nervous one time in like because I'm like not really someone you would see in a competitive like sports situation. And then this like there was this like ISTP guy that was so it's like he calmed me down so much because he was just like using his FE. Um, and so that's the attractive side of FE when they are like caring of your needs and able to make you feel like I guess like included and cared for in that moment when
Like you
you need it.
belong.
Right. Yeah. And I think ESTPs do that too, even though people don't really give them credit for it, but they do that. Yeah. So, okay, introverted sensing. So now we go to the sensing functions. Introverted sensing. Sorry, this one. What do you think, Trevor?
Introverted sensing. Let me see it. Okay. Introverted sensing is because this is like, okay, sex appeal, sexy. Introverted sensors can easily become bodybuilders.
Oh, really? But like, not really like in an aesthetic way. They just do it like for health, like more for health than for like looks.
Yeah. Like they do it for health. I know, okay, so if you think of ISFJ, ISTJ, they do it for health. But like to me, an ESFJ and ESTJ wants that external validation. So they would do it for health and looks, in my opinion. Like
right.
they want to be popular and famous and all these things. But like it is about this basic
Mm-hmm.
It's about this need for health. And this can cause SI can be like self-obsessed with its own beauty. I know, like it's like yes, SI users are minimalistic, like what you're saying. Like they're about the health and the quality of life, but then they are also about getting their needs met. And so much of getting your needs met to an SJ is about looking good, so people treat you well, so you can get those needs met. If that makes sense, like it's all connected, I think.
Right, but I feel like SI doesn't really put in that much effort in appearance as a dominant function. Like ESTJs and ESFJs more so because they're extroverts and they like need the more like social, like social like validation. But I feel like ISFJ, ISTJs, they seem to be more practical.
Yes.
And they're like they take care of their appearance, but like in a practical way. Sort of like presentable, but not like putting in extra, you know, they don't seem to be putting in like extra effort. So I think that can be sexy to some people because it's like they are not like trying too hard, and some people like that. And they are the thing is, SI users are very stable when it comes to relationships. Like they can easily be in one relationship for like the whole life, easily. Like maybe marry the first person they date. I mean, not saying every single SI user does that, but like a lot of them are fairly stable. So I feel like SI users are like what your parents want you to marry, and SE users are like what your parents don't want you to marry.
Yes. Oh my god.
No, I can use MBTI to explain why I'm like not in a serious relationship, because I am more attracted to SE than SI. That is actually a real reason. Like I wish I'm more attracted to SI. Like SI is so good for like a long-term relationship. Like it's very it's more likely to be healthy and just stable, because I've had like ISTJ guys being interested in me, which is very random because I don't even know why. Maybe they have like their inner intuitive side speaking to them, so they want to find it intuitive. But like they are like they treat me very well. Like if they are interested, and even in ESTJ, oddly, like just one time, there was an ESTJ church guy who was like interested in me, and he was very gentlemanly and everything. Even though he was also really traditional and conservative in the church values, but like, yeah, like they can be very like stable and family oriented, and it makes for good partners theoretically. You know, it's like what your parents want you to be with. Like, oh, they are so like they have a stable job, like they can cook. I'm not saying every SI user, but like quite a number of them can cook. Because they like the family comfort. You know, it's like it's like the stereotypical like good husband wife material that I feel like a lot of parents want their kids to be with like an ISFJ or an ESFJ, like this family person, you know. And I wish that's the case for me, because if I'm more naturally attracted to SI users, I would probably be married by now.
Yes. Yes, it's
Yeah,
true.
they're so because they are very committed. Like they're not like flighty like the NE users, and they're not like too adventurous like the SE, always looking for the next person. I mean, not trying to say every SE user, but they do have that tendency.
Who
So
can say?
SI is the case for like the long term, you know, for like people who really want to build something. And SI is also like SI looks for like simple pleasures in life, which is why they are able to maintain long-term relationships, because they talk about like, oh, I can find joy in like the simplest things, you know.
Yes,
They
it's
don't need
quality
to have
time. It's
yeah,
yeah, all
they
the
don't
things.
need to have the adrenaline kick every few like months.
Yeah. SI, have you heard of this thing where SI is all about like it's about like the idea of sex, like it's about like the lingerie, it's about like the what is it, like the anticipation of sex, like it's about the clothes you wear, it's like about being suggestive in a like a fashionable um
I don't know if I don't personally know if SI cares about fashion that much. I feel like it's more practical. Unless it is with like FE, like as in FE Dom, then yes, they do, like FESI. But like SI itself, I'm not sure if they do. I think
uh-huh.
they care about fashion, but like in a simple, like, I don't know, like in a comfort priority, like prioritizing comfort way.
Hmm.
Yeah, like simple color combinations. Like they like the more like subtle colors, like not too out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see that. How I always thought about it, and I think like we just think probably about it a little differently, is like ISTJs and ISFJs are more like how I think of what you're talking about with the subtle colors, the not too much, not too garish, not too extravagant. And then I think of ESFJs, ESTJs, their SI and NE are closer to each other. So their NE brings more spontaneity and colors the
Yes.
SI.
Yes, they do.
And then INPs with tertiary SI and auxiliary extroverted intuition is where then it's with ESJs and INPs where I feel like I see their individual sense of style and fashion, like as a statement of who they are, as something that's
It's
part
because
of
of the NE, I suppose. I think
you.
the
What?
NE is there. I think it's because of the NE
Mm-hmm.
more than the SI, because SI is more like down to earth, whereas NE is more like quirky. So like that
Mm-hmm.
combination, like INFPs, you see that pretty obviously. Like they love. I mean, they have FI too, so it's like the
Yeah,
FI and E combination. Yeah, but it depends on the individual as well. But yeah, the NE can bring out that quirkiness to that dressing.
okay. Yeah, so I just always thought of it as a combination. But yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying, where the SI is the like
Down
the
to earth.
basic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, personally, like just saying for my own life, I rarely am attracted to SI dominance. But they are like great for friendships. Yeah, because like we are both introverts and like I think it's like a friendship chemistry rather than a romantic chemistry between us, and we are like different in terms of like the intuitive sensing functions. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay, extroverted sensing is it's another one that is it's just like I don't know. How do I
We're
even
both smiling.
Extroverted sensing. Okay, Trevor, what's your experience? Extroverted
It's
sensing is
fun.
such a stereotype in like the media. It's not like it's just so. It's like the honestly, extroverted sensing is like the mainstream sexual appeal. That's SE. Like if you see someone wearing like sexy clothes, that's most likely SE for you. Like Megan Fox, like SE appeal. It's like not saying she's a necessarily not saying that you have to be an extroverted sensing dominant, but generally sexiness is very linked to SE, like the mainstream like sex symbols, for example. They are like mainly ESFPs and ESTPs.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Like Marilyn Monroe. She's an
Yeah.
ISFP, but yeah, she has SE.
Uh-huh. I think like for SE, I wrote very performative, wants to be noticed for like their body. And then even if an SP does not have a hot body, they still just have this energy of action and spontaneity, and they're gonna get it done is what it looks like. And they look like they're gonna show you a fun time no matter what. And
Yes.
yes.
And they are like and it's interesting how SE is paired up with different functions, like especially when SE is paired up with FI. Oh my god, the toxic FI again, but like
Oh my god.
it's I feel like SEFI is like it's like the function combination that is the most vain, like no matter in which personality type. So for example, which personalities use SEFI? ESFPs, ISFPs, ENTJs, INTJs. I don't know about your experience, but they are like the most vain people ever. And I say in a good way because they take care of their appearance. And I like their vanity. So it's not a hate like comment, but like they can be so vain because it's like that combination of SE being very performative, like you said, like wanting people to notice, like that it's SE is very sexually confident too. So it's like every stereotype you see in a movie. Like in Asian dramas, in like Hollywood dramas, it's literally like the stereotype of the jock, the stereotype of
Yes.
the jock, and the stereotype of like the prom queen or whatever. It's so performative, and that's how it is. I mean, like it makes sense because it is that way. It's like the like I'm hot and I know it vibe, and ENTJs have it too, and ENFJs as well because it's their tertiary function. And so it's like it dresses to impress. SE does that a lot. And so you can sort of tell that they are doing it. And it's kind of funny sometimes, like how much effort they put in when it comes to appearance.
Yes, like, yeah, absolutely. I put on my notes, I put for SE, I put not picky. Like, as hot as they might be, they might not only date other hot people. Like they want to experience everyone, is what it looks like. And
yeah,
it looks like,
especially as a first function. Yeah, just
yes.
to be clear, because like ISPs are more selective, but like ESPs are like insane.
It's like everyone. It's crazy.
I know they act like they're in love with everyone, but actually they are secretly very selective. But it's just that they just want to have fun, you know. So it's like when they are in that not so serious phase of their life, they are just like whatever.
Yeah, like everybody's coming to the party.
No, I have some crazy stories. I'm sure you have too, but like I have some crazy stories about this ESFP guys, like just like straight up flirting with every girl they know. It's like insane. Like I remember there was this ESFP guy, like he just literally comments on every girl's photo, like, wow, you're so pretty. Like, but that was like when he was really young, so it's forgivable now because like he was like a teenager. But it was just like I've seen this so many times with like SE dominance when they're young, especially. I mean, I'm hoping they grow out of it because it can be very destabilizing, clearly. But they literally flirt with everyone. It's so dramatic too.
Yeah, it is. It's dramatic, and they want the action in their romance life, so they will like seek out other dramatic people. They want someone who, you said they're vain, FISE. For them, it's all about making a statement with the person they're dating, and everybody thinks that way. But with them, it's like the heat is turned up, and they're like, "This is my boyfriend. This is my girlfriend." It's like the
right. Oh my god, this is such a SE line.
I know.
The TikTok challenge.
Wait, what?
The TikTok challenge where like this like LGBT person pretends to be straight and kind of acts like a SE dom, like, oh, like don't talk to them, like this is my, I don't know how to do it, but it's like a very possessive language. It's so SE. Another thing about SE is it's very territorial. So it's like this person's mine, but actually like a lot of people are theirs according to them. It's so funny. I don't know. I love SE. So like I feel like people already know my bias. I really like SE as a function. I think it's so fun. And I feel like SE brings out a fun side of me. Because I'm secretly very fun. It's just that I don't like show it to everyone, but I'm like crazy inside. So like I feel like SE, especially when it comes to like more mature SE users, like if they are not so chaotic, because overly chaotic can also be a little triggering. But when they are like a little bit more balanced, but it's like I feel like I can kind of showcase my chaotic side around them. And SE is also really strange in the sense that I feel like morals to SE is it's a very like gray area, because SE prioritize pleasure so much that they can somehow sort of like forget. Like sometimes I feel like SE users forget that they have a girlfriend or that they have a husband.
Yeah. Like what this? Okay, I don't want to. I knew someone who may or may not have been an SE user, and it was like they were in a relationship, but they like could not control them. Like it was every single person. I was like, does your person know that you literally like are with everybody? Like there's no limit. There's no end. Like there.
I know, that's what is scary about it. Yeah, it's literally like I know how it is because I have SE, but it's a weak function. But like I know how it feels because when I'm in the SE mode, it feels like very how do I put it? It's like, oh, I like this person because this person is attractive, but then I see another attractive person and I'm like, that person is also attractive. Imagine having that as a dominant function. Oh my god, it's insane.
And like, and yeah, I understand that this idea where every person you see is a new opportunity or possibility, and there's chemistry, and there's like a little honeymoon phase is what they SE users love to live in, that little honeymoon, and just never go deep. And it's fun. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's destabilizing, unfortunately. So that's why it's like parents warn people against SE users. Like you hear them all the time, like, don't date that guy. Like they don't say SE user because obviously they're not like MBTI enthusiasts, but like they're always talking about some kind of SE user. Like it's also like a warning when people are like, you know, they see like the SE traits, like the recklessness, and they're like, you know, this person is like not reliable. So yeah, like SE unfortunately is, I don't know, it's like I don't know how they work in a marriage setting, honestly. I'm not trying to say like SE cannot work in a marriage setting, but it's just like it seems challenging. It seems more challenging than SI users, for example, especially when it's like a dominant function.
Yeah. I think SE in like a serious relationship, they use their SE as like they engage in like superficial flirting, but will like be very combative if the people, like their side hoes, basically, if their side hoes try to push beyond where the SE Dom person is comfortable with in relationship to their relation, when they really care about the relationship, then they will use their SE to like push people away who flirt too much, or like, yeah, does that make sense? SEs then use to keep people out, because SE can do that too, like confrontation. I don't know.
Yeah, SE is like the stereotype bad boy, bad girl, you know, the gangster, the whatever. Like it's literally like what movies are made of. Like entertainment thrives on SE. It's like very live in the moment. I always have this stereotypical conversation with SE users. It's so funny. Like they brag about their cars. They brag about speeding, about being reckless. Like I like
the speeding.
What?
I said I like the speeding. I love it. That's my favorite part of SE.
Let's hype it up. Oh my god.
Going like 100 to school, like just.
Hey, someone who doesn't drive, me hyping up the speeding. I'm like,
I love it. I love it.
No, it's so funny because it's like every other SE user, like usually the stronger SE users. I have had like one ENTJ, one ISFP, and one ESFP. Or I think more than one ESFP, like several SFPs brag about speeding. Like it's so common. It's like every other conversation is the exact conversation. I feel like I can copy and paste. Like they brag about the same things too. It's funny. Yeah. And SE is materialistic as well. So, you know, it's like brag about the wealth, brag about maybe TE more so the wealth, but like SE is like the brands, like the like it's very extravagant, in your face kind of bragging. And so I just find it very entertaining when people do that. Like yeah, okay. Okay, so TITE. TI users. What's your take on them?
So TI can be like introverted feeling, like we said, like polarizing. TI does not like to show, I don't know if TI likes to show its hand, but like TPs so often have that long ass player phase where they are like players all the time. TI loves to be
Maybe
vague.
not INTPs.
What?
Sorry. Maybe not INTPs. Sorry to exclude them, but
Or
INTPs don't seem to have a player phase. But other than that, yeah, sure. The rest do. Yeah.
Yeah, the ETPs have more player phase than the ITPs. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So their TI kind of like, they like to sit back and they're either talking all about their thoughts and ideas and trying to be, I feel like a lot of times they try to be in charge. Like with the ITPs, it's like they try to say all of the opinions and we'll be having a conversation and I'll say something ridiculous, like I like astrology. I'll be like, oh my God, I like astrology. And an ICP hears that, they're like, well, astrology is total nonsense. Like, and they're explaining to me all these reasons why astrology is awful. And I'm like, I don't care about your reason. Like, I'm like, I understand that you have that you're right in your TI, but I don't care. Like, so and then ETPs can be vague with their TI and then steer the conversation to topics they like and where they want to go. And they can also, yeah, they can make you feel heard in conversation also. That's what I think of with TI.
Yeah, TI, I find TI pretty attractive because TI to me, it's a lot more comfortable for me, first of all, compared to TE, because TE is like where the bomb is at, for INFJs anyway. But TI is like, I feel like TI is a very smart function. Maybe this is just my own bias, but I feel like TI is a very smart and like critically thinking function. Sorry, I'm just going to charge my computer real quick. And sometimes like TJs are very frustrated by TI because it's like, for example, you can tell like an ESTP, for example, to do something. And you're like, why though?
Yes.
Right? It's like asking the why. And I feel like sometimes it infuriates like TE DOMs because they're like, why are you asking that? It's like, are you doubting my authority? But it has nothing to do with like doubting the authority. It's more like, I feel like TI is like questioning because they want to like form their own logic. Like they want to make sense of it. And that's attractive to me because I feel like sometimes what TE users don't realize is like how important TI is. Because if you like go with something just because it is like the norm, sometimes you are like it can be dangerous, So TI is like sort of like on guard sometimes when they question these things, or they also have like the disobey authority thing, but it's different from SE, where SE just does it for the fun of it. Like SE is just like disobedient because they think it's fun. But like TI is more like the intellectual, sort of like questioning, not necessarily like actual intellectual, but like they just like to form their own logic around it and their own opinions of things.
TI also, I think, like what you said, they have to form their own logic and opinions. So they have to logically understand things for themselves when you want them to do something. You have to be like, okay, see, this benefits you. If you actually do this thing, it will help you. And they have to, it's hard for them to like, to admit that their TI was wrong because they're good at TI. So it's like, it's hard for us to admit when our NI has picked a wrong path. It's hard for TI to realize when it's created a faulty value system that hurts themselves and others. And so it's like, okay, well, you're doing this thing and it's like hurting me, or you're doing this thing and it's not helping you. And so with that, they it can be intellectually stimulating because they create all these systems, and then it really affects how you perceive if a TP is taking you seriously based off of if they listen to what you say. If if they integrate what you say in any capacity, then you must be fairly important to them. Or I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, and I just feel like TI is so misunderstood. Like maybe again my own bias, but I feel like TI is so misunderstood in like work situations because like there's a lot of like TJs obviously being like the leader, and they feel like TI is like kind of slowing things down and like being like inefficient. But I feel like sometimes if you look at the grand like the big picture, TI can help things to be more efficient, but like on a grand scale, because we look at what is like what makes sense. You know, we don't just like follow rules for the sake of doing it if it doesn't make sense or if it's like not the best way to do it. Like I just find it TI is so smart if people would like actually listen and take some time, like maybe have a bit of patience. But obviously TE doesn't listen to patience. So it's like, you know, but yeah, like I probably make a video about TI versus TE, but yeah, like I feel like TI to me is attractive because it's like sometimes I feel like people kind of disregard it and when I have like a TI user, a strong TI user around, I feel like it's like the understanding is there for me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And they're also really blunt, which can be an attractive trait as well. Which is why like a lot of like what we mentioned before, like a lot of EXFJs are really attracted to the roots.
Yes, they need the concrete nitpickiness. Yeah.
Right. Like in a more like I don't know, I feel like a lot of TI users, especially like EXTPs, tend to be kind of like stereotypically an asshole, and they are like into that. Like EXFJs are like into that bluntness, you know, like telling it as it is.
Yes, yes. ESTP, ESFJ is a really good combination.
Especially for the ESFJ side, because they are looking for the TI.
Yes.
In guys, yeah. Or girls, depending on whatever they're into. Okay, extroverted thinking.
TE, let me see. TE is like, okay, TE.
A hammer.
I want to be like,
okay,
make sure I don't say this wrong because like the TE in a relationship to me rushes things. I do not mean that, like, I'm not trying to say they rush like physical stuff. I'm not saying that they don't really, I've never been where they do that. They try to label the relationship as quickly as possible, which to me is kind of a red flag, kind of scary, also can kind of make you feel like they're pursuing you, which is nice.
I don't really have a lot of experience with TE DOMs when it comes to that. So
yeah,
I will have to take your word for it.
Yeah, I guess and they are obsessed with superficial things. They're obsessed with how you look together. They're obsessed with the status of it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the status. Yes.
Yes.
Like they are obsessed with like the practicality wise. Like I know a lot of for example like ISFPs who really value TE in other people. Like they look for partners with like high income status, for example. And of course, the best match is either ENTJ, who is like always the highest earning. So I feel like ISFPs and ENTJ, sorry, separate note, they're just such a perfect match. Because yeah, like ISFPs look for the TE status, which is like the success, you know, like the mainstream success, like what society deem as succeeding. I think that's what TE looks for. That's why they are always like in leadership. I mean, also, yes, they do enjoy it. They do enjoy being in charge. A lot of politicians are TE dominants as well. And they enjoy the status for sure.
Yes. And what is so special about ISFP ENTJ relationship meshing is that the ISFP's auxiliary extroverted sensing also values the status that TE brings.
Right, yeah. So that's why they're so perfect together. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
It's perfect. We talked about FI putting in, like, being inconsistent with the effort. TE users that I know will be like, well, I knew a TE user and he was a TE Dom ENTJ. He was he was really cool. I liked him. Like he wanted to like drive 3 hours to see me and be in a relationship. And I was like, whoa, no, like that's just what TE wants. And I'm like, dude, like you need to like calm down. And like, yeah, I could see why, because him and I were a good match, but I was like, no, you're not. Like this is not at all like they want to put in so much effort. They get so excited. They are just so excited to get that feeling of love that their FI and TE, like the TE wants validation in people and FI wants the love. And it's just so much energy that they need to like rein it in. You know, it's
Yes.
a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say, like, okay, as much as like EXTJs traumatize me, no offense, because they do, as much as EXTJs traumatize me, I also have to say that I feel like with TJs in general, they are a lot more attractive when they develop FI. Like when they really show FI, when they're not afraid of showing FI. Because I know like EXTJs are kind of like constipated with the FI, because especially for like EXTJ males, because that's like frowned upon in society or whatever. But like when they are like more better with FI, like that combination can be so attractive. But when they're not that good with FI and they kind of try to hide it and they kind of go crazy with the TE, like that's not that makes for some major trauma.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I think like every INFJ needs to like date an ESTJ in their lifetime, because like if ESTJ, because ESTJs
suggestion on your part.
I know, like
I don't think I can date a ESTJ. I don't think they want to date me either, except for that one church boy many years ago.
Yeah, maybe that one. Yeah, they have totally like botched priorities. Like, okay, they have different priorities than we do. But like, it is so nice to have someone else care for our TE blind spot, like someone to be like.
Yeah, but they kind of hammer us with it, like sometimes.
Yes.
But only if they're undeveloped. Okay, so I have experiences with developed like TJs, and they don't hammer me with the TE blind spot. So yeah, just to set the record straight. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We need TE. It's our blind spot, so.
Yeah, we do. But I think it's just because like TE as a dominant function can be it can be like too much of it. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, but at the same time though, like I think that the level of development is really important. That's really where it's at. And I wanted to point out something. It's like, I feel like TE dominance form like a certain stereotype of like the masculine character. And that can be like pretty attractive to some female personalities, especially FPs, because that's what they're looking for really. And ESTP and ENTJ form such a formidable like pairing of this like alpha male like stereotype in the movies. Since we talk about like the sex appeal, whatever, it's so ironic. Like I feel like ESTP and ENTJs really have it easy in dating, especially for ENTJ and ESTP males. They have it easy. Yeah.
Yep. And you like, it's funny if you know them, and if you know, like, you're like, wow, this person's pretty messed up. And then, but they still like, if you know them personally, you can be like, how are people putting up with their crap? Like,
like, I mean, not saying everyone is like that, but it's like literally they can be unhealthy and still have like a bunch of relationships.
Yeah.
Easily. It's the thing for your community, right? I assume for like ESTP gay men, like they have it easy too.
So extroverted sensing with gay guys.
I guess it's probably not as common.
But did you say it kind of cut out?
Sorry, what did you say?
Did you say it's probably not as important?
So like, are they also popular? Yeah, are they also popular in your community? like among like the gay community?
Well, yeah. So like the extroverted sensing. Okay, this is where we get bias into my like personal views. So if like ESTPs who are gay, who are in touch with their feminine side, and who use their SE to be in touch with their like hair, nails, makeup, they tend to be happier and like healthier generally. They still cannot have high conflict because SE likes high conflict. TE doesn't
Yeah,
mind conflict.
that's why they fight like literally
Yes.
every other movie.
Yes.
With Andy Dom. Yeah.
Yeah. So they can go for fame and popularity while still holding on to a piece of themselves. Whereas if they are not as in touch with their feminine side and they are trying to act like it's like if they're because if they're suppressing their introverted feeling, if they're still gonna be they might act hyper masculine. Like there's in the gay community there's a group of like in the gay community that really prioritizes masculinity. So you think if you're not in the gay community, you'd think that we're all like rainbows and glitter, but there's a lot of gays who are prejudiced against feminine gay guys, and there's a lot of gay guys who think that being a masculine gay means being superior. So like I'm obviously on the side where like everyone, well, I don't know if that's obvious, but I'm on the side where I want people to be themselves, and that oftentimes means getting in touch with your feminine side. And so anyways, so just being, if you use your SE or TE to be in alignment with yourself, that will always be healthier, whether you're gay or not. And if you use your SE or TE to adapt to what you think to what society wants, and you totally ditch your own beliefs behind, that's gonna bring you that's going to bring you out of alignment. That's just how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just, I don't know, like, definitely culture plays a role as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there's like a lot of TJs in my culture, just like because of like the stereotypical like mainstream success and everything. But I mean, naturally, I am more attracted to like the EP types just because, I'm more comfortable with them. But I think like it's a really good way also when people are mistyped and they want to find out their own type. It's like asking yourself what are you more attracted to? Like in my experience or in my observation, it's almost always that INFPs are more attracted to the EJs, like the bossy, especially EXTJs, right? And like INFJs are likely to be more attracted to perceiving types. So that's when you can tell what your own type is by thinking about what are you attracted to naturally, just like, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that concludes our long video on cognitive function hardness. Trevor for being an engaging participant as usual. And remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And, like remember also to comment your own thoughts and perspectives on what you find attractive in other people. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.